Hey guys, what's going on? Decided I'd make a few Death Knight Wrath of the Lich King solo videos. Most of this stuff I'm doing for the mat. So here we're doing Magister's Terrace Heroic. You can do this in Blood spec, I would say, is the easiest. I'm running it in Frost spec. I will be switching back and forward a little bit as needed. It's not super gear dependent. I would suggest if your gear is not very good, probably be safe to do it in Blood for now. Just so you have the survivability that you need. Now most of this instance can be skipped. This pack I've pulled just here actually usually can run straight by. I'll be showing you the skips as well as the bosses, as well as the strat I use to essentially do some of the harder bosses. So my blood spec is a single target mitigation blood spec for tanking. I'm currently in Frost. My Frost spec is the Frost Tank DPS spec. Also good for tanking. My gear, all tank gear. Show you the gear in a second. You can skip this pack on the left, hopefully we don't pull him now. Like I said, if your gear's not too good, probably safe to do it in Blood. And this pack here you can't really avoid. Most of these mobs are pretty easy. You have a bit of damage coming in. So it's a bit safer to do it in Blood if you don't have the sort of gear and survivability that you need. Pretty much just burn everything down before it kills you in this stage. A little bit of self heals. Crazy. And I've been doing this heroic daily for the mat. I'll also chuck up a video for Headless Horseman solo at some point soon. Definitely need a bit of bag space here, but hey, take what you can get. Now this next pull can be a little bit spicy. This one's definitely safer in Blood. There's a lot of incoming damage, but I think with the DPS we put out in Frost, it's not going to be too much of an issue. Let's grab 1, grab 2, grab 3, drop a Death and Decay, wait for them to group up, spread Plague, start moving it down. The damage seems to be a little high, like now we'll pop an Icebound, sink it. Start some self heals on the strike. I'm not gonna lie, definitely feeling like maybe this pull would have been a little smarter to do in Blood, especially now that we need to actually stop to heal. And we're not going to be able to loot much at all, are we, given our bag situation. I've got a flask and some food on from when I was raiding, but you don't really need this. All of it's really just extra or bonus. This boss super easy. Doesn't do a lot of damage. Again, just nuke him down.
waste my time. My hunger knows
Target
no
change.
bounds.
Be crazy with this boss.
Yes, I am a god! No! More! I must have more! My hunger knows no bounds!
Target changed.
And I've been doing this for the
Yes!
mount, like I said.
I am a
I've done a few runs so far. Took a little bit to figure out. Second boss can be a little tricky. Same with the last boss, but there's ways around all the issues that they present. A lot of content can be soloed with the Death Knight, which I definitely like about this class. It makes it quite fun. But we're definitely going to need full health for the next pack. Now the next pack is quite tricky simply because of the amount of damage that comes in, as well as the next boss for the same reason. So I'm going to switch to blood now. Get more bag space. We stay in Frost Presence. I'm not 100% sure whether we need the extra damage, but the extra mitigation definitely helps. A lot of these packs is a case of having more self-healing than the incoming damage. It's not necessarily about nuking things down. Now, if your gear's not as good, you definitely can, and it might be advised to pull these in 2 packs, not this gigantic mega pack that we do. But same deal, spread the plagues, drop down AK, and use all our AoE abilities. Between those we're spamming Death Strike for the heals, using Ring Cut for the extra heals, and we're just nuking it down. No defensives, nothing crazy here, not too hard. Now this next boss is a little tricky simply because of the amount of damage. It definitely ramps up. It's a good idea to save the defensives to the end, and for the early phases, just keep healing yourself basically. Just stay at max health, keep burning them down. When the heads come out, you switch to them. You can either auto attack or do your acid touch. Either work. It's not a massive deal. I'm letting diseases drop off, which I probably shouldn't do, but it's not a huge deal. You want to have 2 diseases up at all times for the heals on the Death Strike, quite important. Alright, 4 energy now. This is where it really starts to ramp up, but we're going to save our defensives till we get to 6. In fact, we're going to save all our cooldowns till we get to 6, so we're at 5 now, 6 now. What we'll do is we'll pop Icebound, Vampiric Blood for the bigger heals, stay at max health, hit the 7th, hit the 8th, and we're going to use our Icebound Fortitude, our dodge cooldown, and we're just going to nuke him and ignore the last one. Grab that. Nice and easy, and we're only using 2-minute cooldowns here, nothing too crazy. It's really just a case of using them at the right time, staying at full health until the damage ramps up, and when the damage does ramp up is when you pop everything. And the amount of damage you'll be doing at that point is quite high due to the buff, so you just burn him down. Blood's also good because we can heal as we're running, but basically, unless I make a mistake here, you can skip everything from here on out. The aggro range is quite smaller than you would think, so you can just run past it all. Now just watch out for this Magister here, and just make sure it's not in the middle of the path when you get in, and we'll just run straight down the middle. Now this next boss, I'm tempted to do it as Frost, but I know it's nice and easy as Blood, so we'll do it as Blood. There's no real trick to it. You just burn Princess down while interrupting as many heals as you can. I like to use Army of the Dead, simply because it gives them a nice distraction. I've only been feared once. Luckily that fear didn't I may have actually aggroed another pack once, but yeah, it's really not a massive deal here. This boss is nowhere near as hard as back in the day when we were doing it with a group. So Army of the Dead decided to pull. That's fine. Go in here, diseases and Princess, and spread them. I'm noticing there's that fear. Guess we'll grab an extra pack then, maybe. Maybe not. We'll see how lucky we get. Yep, we got it. Spread them.
Interrupt.
Diseases again, and we'll just keep up heals. It's really the only important thing. Yep, Princess. Give ourselves Unholy Frenzy, 3 extra damage, while we keep nuking. Red Disease, and as you can see, we're just ignoring basically everything that's going on around us, interrupting when we get a chance, spreading disease, and self-healing. Now that Princess down, really doesn't matter what we do from here, simply we have the self-heals to sustain over this entire fight. Pop Vampiric Blood here. Just at full health, essentially. Yeah, we're gonna want to, or rather, we're gonna have to put all this stuff anyway at some point to slowly work it down. What I would recommend is, if your gear's not as good, maybe chuck in a PvP trinket with fear, or simply don't get feared, like I did then, one or the other. Haven't used any defensives, haven't used our broomsword. Don't really need it much here. Again, the self-heal's more than enough to sustain. Most important thing is making sure that you've always got 2 diseases on, so that if you need to help heal quickly, you can, and you're not wasting your GCDs and runes to do so. It can be a little spicy or bad when you desperately need to heal and you realise you need to spread disease to be able to do that. Now, one thing I have noticed, sometimes she doesn't drop any loot. I don't know why, don't care, don't need it, we'll move on. This last boss is a little interesting, simply because there's a few ways you could do it, depending on your spec. You could go Frost and try to burn through the shock barriers, or get him to 50% all the shock barriers. It's on a set timer, that's always an option. I like to take it nice and slow, simply because the last phase is the spicy one, and having the self-heals for the last phase quite nice. It slows down a bunch being in this spec, but we're not speedrunning here, so it's really not a massive deal. this target. That's pretty disease on the 50%. Goodbye. Shouldn't let him drop off, but and this is the beauty of blood, is you end the pretty much every fight at max health, so we're not bandaging and healing in between.
Don't look so smug. I know what you're thinking.
So with the
But
Phoenixes, we're not going to worry
Tempest
too much
Keep
about
was
them.
merely a
We're going to spread
setback.
disease to the Phoenixes
Did
and
you
let them die.
honestly believe
If
I
you have
would
enough
trust the future to
time
some
and
blind,
runic
half
power
night
when
elf
they switch to an
mongrel?
egg, it's always worth burning the eggs down just to remove them from the fight.
Oh, no,
You can do the fight with ignoring them, it just makes
He
it a
was
little bit
merely an
harder later.
instrument, a stepping
Pretty much the main
stone
thing we've
to
got to
a
worry
much
about is the shock
larger
barrier.
plan.
We want to make sure that we have
It has
the
all
runic
led
power
to
that we need
this.
to use
And
Anti-Magic
this
Shell
time,
and Icebound Fortitude.
you will
You can get
not
away with using
interfere.
just Vampiric Blood and Anti-Magic Shell, but I like to just pop everything, do it that way. Now for the fireballs, we can Anti-Magic Shell to get the runic power. We can also interrupt. And you can see the shock barrier 50 seconds away, so as long as you keep an eye on that, and you're not using your cooldown of Anti-Magic Shell when it's close, you should be absolutely fine.
Kill ads.
We're just going to switch disease over to the Phoenix. And we're going to ignore it otherwise, heal and food damage. Now, this Pyroblast thing, you can stay in, but it's just not worth the extra damage. It's easy enough to move. Just make sure you go in to interrupt a fireball with just casting it. You can see 20 seconds left on shock barrier, so we're just going to make sure that we don't use Anti-Magic Shell now. We're going to make sure that we're not dumping our runic power so that we have enough for later. We're going to make sure that we keep diseases up. You can see the 10-second timer on shock barrier there. I'm going to switch to the egg. And wait for shock barrier. And use Icebound Fortitude, Anti-Magic Shell, and we'll use Vampiric Blood just for the hell of it. And you can see 0 damage.
Kill ads.
Now, as long as your DPS isn't completely trash, we're going to be getting down to 50% before the next shock barrier. It is on a timer, there is a set limit. If we don't make it, it's bad. Hasn't happened yet. So what would happen? We don't have any cooldowns left, but we have 30 seconds to do 6% damage. Not too worried about that. Hasn't been an issue thus far. I recommend saving up as much runic power as you can here. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kill the Phoenix just to get it out of the game. It's a bit annoying if we have to dodge it as well. But there's not a lot we can do here. The most important thing: keep up diseases. Anti-Magic Shell when you get kill the bubbles. Expect that the bubbles will, can, and do hurt, and just move around them so you don't get too many ticks. We run in, self-heal, get disease again, self-heal, move out. It's nice and slow. No real rush to this phase. Use defenses as you have them.
Master,
Just make sure they're going in and healing. When he does this little landing, then I can burn him a little bit without worrying too much about incoming damage.
do not get too comfortable.
Now in a situation like this, I can see I've got Anti-Magic Shell, and see I've got lots of self-healing. We're going to pop it all, we're going to stay a little bit longer, just a tiny bit longer, and then self-heal. Move out, spread that. Get the Death and Decay doesn't hurt. I'm using Power Rune Weapon just for the extra runes. And I know I'm going to take a bit of damage here, but I can see that I can spread the second disease and use the cooldown for Rune Tap to get it, and pretty much self-heal through it. So it's really just a case of not taking too much and taking it slow.
Grant me strength.
Lands again.
Do not get too comfortable.
And see my Anti-Magic Shell coming up as well as my Vampiric Blood. So we're going to use Vampiric Blood, Anti-Magic Shell, self-heal, spam Deathcore because the incoming runic power is actually insane. Just saw that Icebound Fortitude's up, so we'll use that and just nuke him. And nuke him. Get in range.
My
Good for
demise
melee.
accomplishes nothing.
And that's it.
The Master will have you.
So if you're looking
You
to get
will
them out and you don't
drown
want to
in
do
your own
heroics
blood.
and you want to try
The
this out,
world
this is
shall
my strat to do it.
burn.
Hope you do get them out. I didn't in this case, but hey, guess we're coming back tomorrow then. That's all that means. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and enjoy. Bye.